Hi, my name is Molly Dandelay. I am the director at Level Up Academy. We are a free and public charter school located in White Bear Lake, Minnesota. My favorite thing about Level Up Academy, of course, are our students and our families. Additionally, we have We Code expectations that stand for cooperation, ownership, do your best, and everyone matters. These expectations are not just for our students, they are for our whole community, our teachers, administrators, and school board as well.
I'm Amber Espinosa, one of our middle school teachers. One of my favorite things about Level Up Academy is our focus on relationships. Learning is all about trying something new, something we're not very good at yet, and that takes a lot of trust, and strong relationships provide the foundation for that.
Hi, my name is Joel Giese. I'm the third grade teacher at Level Up Academy. We strive to keep learning fun. We keep our students actively engaged by using a wide variety of games and technologies to connect with the concepts that we're working on in our classrooms.
I'm Mackenzie Gagne. I am the K-5 special education teacher here at Level Up Academy, and we personalize here at LUA. All of our students are taught according to their own personalized learning plan, and they receive the support that they need. Different learning styles are celebrated, and that's really what helps kids to be successful and to thrive in the classroom.
Hi, I'm Lizzie and I'm in 6th grade, and what I really like about personalized learning is being able to work ahead. Working ahead just means that I am able to learn more and basically just get done with schoolwork faster.
Hi, my name is Miss Miller. I'm a teacher here at Level Up Academy. I'm also a teacher leader. So all of our K-8 students learn computer programming, and what this might look like in a classroom is learning on different coding platforms, and students also use robots in our STEAM lab. We also focus on computational thinking, so our students are able to problem solve and formulate solutions just like computer scientists.
My name is Addie. I'm in 3rd grade, and what I like about Level Up Academy is that everyone always tries to include each other. I want to make sure that you know that it's like a safe place, and it just feels like you can really be yourself wherever you are.
Teachers will send an email, they'll send a text message, even if it's just, hey, they had such a great day and this is something that they really enjoyed, or I enjoyed seeing them smile about this today. It's nice to hear the positive parts of their school day.
I asked my kids what they liked about Level Up. They said, because the teachers smile every day. And I said, well, what do you mean? And they said, well, you can tell that they really like what they do. And I think that's just a testament for who the teachers are. I would tell any parent to bring their child to Level Up because they're going to get individual attention, and the kids can work at a pace where they are, and they gain so much confidence because of that.
My favorite thing about Level Up Academy is that I love all the teachers here. Also, I love all the students in my class. My school is a very nice school, and I think you would like it if you came.
We are currently enrolling for our next school year, both online and in-person platforms. So if you would like an opportunity to become a part of our community, check out our website and give us a call. We'd love to have you here.
All right, so we're going to go through each of our pillars, and for each of our pillars, you'll hear some of the areas that we focus on: positive identity and relationships and meeting foundational needs. So our first one is We Connect.
Hello, I will be Amelia Miller. I'm the middle school teacher here at Level Up, and I'll be talking a little bit about We Connect. It says there that relationships are the foundation of learning, and we truly do believe that here. Relationships are the core of everything we do here. A lot of ways that we build that connection is through weekly mentor meetings. We do that in our middle school classroom. We also do morning circles in our classrooms. One way that we build positive relationships as well is we do restorative practices. And I believe the next slide, Amber, we talk about, or did we, is that the next one after this one? Mm-hmm. Okay, sorry. So community circles, we sometimes call them morning meetings, but our community circles, that's where we build on our relationships. And I know that, I believe Oliver, you have a video after the, or after the slide that talks about our community circles.
In this video, Oliver is showing our values centerpiece that we use in each of our community circles and talking about what's important about our community circles to him.
This is our centerpiece for our morning circles. I like morning circles because we get a chance to talk to each other before schoolwork begins.
That was awesome, Oliver. So in the middle school, we have our centerpiece, which we form a circle around our centerpiece, and we pick a value for the school year that we find important to us. And even today, we just made keychains with our values on it. So that was fun that I got to talk about that. But I think a huge thing is when we talk about We Connect is restorative practices. And so building relationships and community is what we do with restorative practices. And I know in the next video, we talk about how we have our restorative chats. And so what that looks like is when there's harm done to our community, we need to repair that harm. And so we will do restorative chats. And of course, the community circles go in with that. One thing I did want to touch on before the student video is that we do these practices with our students, but we also do it with the teachers. So when we have professional development, community circles, we also have a centerpiece with our values on it. And so as educators, we do the same things as we teach and that our students do.
This is Tommy explaining what he thinks is important about restorative practice.
When we have a problem to solve, we use restorative practices. With our teacher or Mr. Yelke, our dean of students, we go through these 4 questions. What happened? Who was impacted? What do we need to do to make it right? How will we keep this from happening again? I like restorative practices because it goes to the issues and learns how to solve them.
All right, so that is a little bit about We Connect. And again, when we hold the same expectations and supports and values for all of our community members, we create a really welcoming and positive environment at Level Up Academy.
Hi, everyone. Molly Dandelay, also from Level Up. I'm the director here, and we want to put a big emphasis on We Code, which has double meaning at our school. It stands for computer science, of course, but also our school-wide values. We believe that the values that our students have are the values that adults in our schools should also carry through our teacher team and through our school board as well.
Here's David explaining our We Code values. Here's David to tell us about our We Code values. David, what's that sign all about?
It's about cooperation, ownership, do your best, and everyone matters.
Which one of those of our core values do you think was the most important?
The most important is everyone matters.
Bucket fillers are along with the We Code values, our bucket fillers are a big component. Both our teacher team and our students use bucket fillers or giving compliments, recognizing the good, seeing the good in others as a way to form friendships, as a way to keep friendships, and as a way to connect with adults and other students. So I believe Andy is going to describe bucket fillers in the classroom.
Every week we do a bucket filler and a circle, and in a bucket filler circle we tell everyone what we notice about a certain person. And then, for example, like I saw you following the rules, that shows everyone matters. I think bucket filler circles are important because it helps everyone learn better in the day once they got a compliment.
And you'll now hear from Isaiah, one of our alumni, who talks about the impact that things like bucket fillers had on him.
My name is Isaiah, and I'm in 11th grade right now. LUA had a lot of great things that help you as in your education and growing in relationship skills. But one thing that I really enjoyed was bucket fillers, because if someone had like a bad day or a bad week, you can help uplift them, like make them feel good. And it's just something I like to do. And it just really builds you a classroom, a good environment, because you guys are always saying compliments about each other. And it's random every time, so you're gonna meet and talk about new people. And it just helps you meet all your classmates and get to know them. And that's what I really like about LUA.
So one of the ways that we meet students' foundational needs is we really pay attention to each individual student's strengths and their needs and their interests. And we try to tailor their learning to those things, to who they really are. And that meets so many foundational needs, being able to take ownership in our learning and feel that it's meant just for us and that someone has taken the time to think about who we really are, we think has a really huge impact, not just academically, but on building on meeting kids' foundational needs of being known and cared for, and helping them build a positive identity in who they are as they grow. So we'll talk a little bit. We use a lot of technology to personalize learning and to make sure that we are providing students the learning that they need. But we're going to focus more for this on some tools that we use to personalize learning. The first is that each student develops a learner profile. Where, oh, sorry, hang on, I missed which one this is. This is Tommy talking about why personalized learning matters first. Here it is. Oops, sorry, Tommy. There we go. Play.
LUA, we do personalized learning. Personalized learning is important to me because at other schools, it might be really hard or really easy for you. But at LUA, it's just in the middle, so it's perfect.
Another way that we personalize learning is that we check in with our students every week. So we'll take 15 minutes to talk to each student around how they're doing and to find out how is their learning going and how can we, what do they need from us. So this is Lizzie telling us about mentor meetings.
Go ahead.
Hello, so during mentor meetings, so we are asked these questions, and they are, what's going well, what challenge are you facing, what strategy will you use, and what support do you need? We are asked these questions during the mentor meeting in order to help us later on. And I think mentor meetings are important because they help us tell what we need to do later on, what support we need, and all stuff like that, which is important.
And then our alumni, looking back, have a lot of insight into what their mentor meetings and those practices around personalized learning mean to them. And so this is Lexi talking about her reflections on what that all meant to her and the impact that it had on her. Whoops. There we go.
Hi, I'm Alexis Nelson, and I am a junior at White Bear Lake South Campus High School. I am a former Level Up Academy student. The personalized learning that LUA had provided for me has a huge impact on my high school learning experience as of now. LUA's personal learning experience showed me that it's okay to work at your own pace. And it's better to fully understand the skills that you are learning rather than just copying down what's on the board and turning it in for a grade. The personalized learning is also very important to how I learn then and now, and has changed how I go about school. One more thing that has also impacted me was the mentor meetings. Learning and communicating with your teacher one-on-one and having those meetings and creating those relationships with your teachers is very important to me, especially now. I don't think if I wouldn't have had those meetings and learned how to create those good relationships with my teachers, that I would be where I am at now with my teachers. It has shown me that having good relationships with your teachers and knowing that they care not just about your schoolwork, but also you has a big impact on how you go about school.
All right, and my name is Joel Giese. I'm the third grade teacher at Level Up Academy. Talk about we engage a little bit. So we at Level Up Academy really do see all the value that game playing in the classroom has. It's not just for celebrations. Like we can work out just different problem solving techniques and critical thinking, as well as keeping our classroom fun. So we work in games and puzzles, and we have an intentional use of our technology just to kind of build that strength within our classrooms to help strengthen the lessons that we're working on or things that will be coming up in our future. And then talking a little bit about our learner profiles, each of our students fill out those learner profiles to let us know what their interests and passions are, what their strengths are, things they want to get better at, just as a way to give us a way to help them be more successful throughout the year. And I believe we have a video from Tommy again.
Mm-hmm.
He's on a roll. All right.
Yep.
This is my learner profile. It tells me my top strengths, my top smarts, my top habits. It's good to know these so that I can grow
in them, he said.
Joel and Amber, thank you so much. If you still have more, is it possible to share that in the breakout room?
Sure.
So we can keep moving.
Yep. This is about 1 minute and 30 seconds. Should I show the ending maybe, or no? Yes? No? Should I hold on?
I think we have to hold on just to make sure we have enough time for every school. So
okay, sounds good.
Thank you. I loved how you integrated the videos in there. That was perfect. All right, we're going to look at Spring Grove next. If Tim gets that slide up, Spring Grove is a school, K-12. It's a district school, public, about 360 kids. It's about 3 hours southeast of the Twin Cities. So switch your minds now to Spring Grove. Be intentional about what you're listening for and making sure that you're thinking about what you want to do after we get through our school visits.
Hi, I'm Luke Chelland. I'm the principal here at Spring Grove Schools. My role is obviously staff leadership, student leadership. We work together as a team between Mrs. Meinertz and Mrs. Utstein and myself on planning, class schedules, a lot of different stuff, all aspects of what school looks like. You know, some of what we've done high school-wise this year in relation to the pandemic is adjusted our schedule, made it more flexible, made class sizes smaller, tried to group kids. And one way we try to get a lot of our feedback on that is through the student-centered network team. I have a group of kids who we come in and meet, and we not only talk about ways our school can improve, but we also tackle particular issues.
Basically, it gives students like an opportunity to voice their opinion in ways to change and improve the school. Right now we're working on letting other students know what a trauma-informed school is and things that go on in types of schools like that.
This year in the Student-Centered Network, it's given us all an opportunity to give input on the way our school actually functions, and it's like kind of an insider's view on it. And it's given us an opportunity to implement actual change and have a chance to give input on that change. The main thing we've talked about is trauma-sensitive schooling and how that can work, and we were able to create a presentation and address our classmates on that, so that everybody was aware of what we were doing.
So we've changed a lot of scheduling kind of things, like, you know, we've worked on during lunch we have a power hour type of thing where it lets students that need to talk to teachers, they have that whole hour to talk to teachers, get any homework done. We also are able to flex out during that hour and go uptown and eat. Juniors and seniors have that.
So Spring Grove had been on a student-centered learning journey for a few years, and we had been asking our students a lot of questions, and usually those questions were just centered around what's going well and what needs to change. And up until this point, kids had really been giving us sort of the answers to the questions that they thought we wanted to hear. And they were giving us the answers to the questions that we were expecting to hear. And then March 2020 hit, and suddenly we didn't know what it was like to be on the receiving end of being a virtual learner. We didn't know what it was like for our students. We didn't know what it was like for our parents. And suddenly our questions had this intensity and this importance to it that they didn't have before, because we had no idea what it was like to be on the receiving end. So we asked, what is going well? What needs to change? And suddenly we started getting really valuable feedback. So what happened was we realized suddenly that we were becoming the learners. We were doing a lot of listening, and the questions were simple. What's going well? What needs to change?
Well, going into this year, we were kind of nervous about having all the kids together and wearing the masks all day. So we were really excited when we heard the idea about being outside and integrating our curriculum into the outdoors.
We are heading down to the creek at Trollskogen. So when we think about our outdoor shelter that's behind me, we have a learning space there. And then one of the first days of school, we talked about this perimeter. We have other outdoor classrooms that also have their perimeter. And even though we're all in this park together, we kind of have our learning space. So we can be indoors if it's raining or kind of to get out of the elements. But if you turn and look, we can see we're heading down to the creek. And so the kids have been kind of leading their own learning because they're finding things and they're wondering and asking questions. And then they're learning almost the rules of leave no trace. The things that we learn about here, we go back and research instead of taking everything out of the creek.
My favorite thing about learning outside is we get to be in the fresh air, and we get explore time and stuff, so we get to find new things. Like we have done 2 treasure hunts for acorns and stuff, and it was really fun.
Collaborative learning is kind of the way that we feel we need to be teaching kids. We don't need to be teaching them what a computer can already do. We need to be teaching them those other skills of how to collaborate and how to be working on a team and those sorts of things. And so doing those sorts of things in the math classroom has been really helpful this year.
In classes, we do a lot more of just kind of not really teacher talking. We do kind of more like partner work and types of things. So I think that's more, gives you an opportunity to interact with someone else and have your own opinion and types of things like that.
I love this position, and it's helped to lead Spring Grove to a more human-centered design. And in that process, we are always listening for the voices of our students and our teachers and our community and our staff, but we're then responding with design team meetings, and we're creating prototypes, and we're showing them, what do you think of this? And they'll give us feedback and we'll shift it. And so it's a new experience for me. Everybody's involved in the process, and always it's centered on the students.
In general, we have less classes in a day, and we've been given an opportunity to take flex courses, which is basically we get to fully choose what we want to take, and we've been allowed to flex out, which is leaving the building during that time.
I think one thing we've really done this year is listen to that voice better for the students, and we've put it into practice, and we're going to continue to put it into practice next year. They've even had hands in what should our schedule look like next year? Should it be a 4-period day? Should it be a 6-period? Should it be an 8-period day? Should it be blocks? Should we have soft landings? So they have a lot of voice in not only the schedule, but down to the what do electives look like? When do we want those to be? What do you need that we aren't giving you right now? Are there electives we should be offering? Work internships. So these are all options we're discussing for maybe that flexible learning day next year.
Because of the big changes that we've made, we've realized that flexibility is, that students handle flexibility very well, and it's made us more open to taking some risks. It doesn't mean everything has to work out, but we realize that we don't have to have all of the answers. We know we want to try something, and if it's not going to work, we'll revise it.
I want them to be able to attack a problem without me or someone else telling them exactly what to do first. And so that was one of the goals of one of the reasons we made this shift. Another thing we implemented this year was something we called in the 8th grade as community of inquiry. And so we're trying to do a better job of getting into real life things and bringing the real world into here. And so we've done a lot of Socratic seminars where we talk about maybe a controversial or a topic that might be happening in our world. And what our goal is here is we're really trying to learn how to deliberate. We learn how to find common ground, understand that people have different perspectives. And so that time has been very unique, and I know that we're excited to implement that in next year even more. And we just started that this second semester.
And we learned of ways to bring equity into schools and how other schools have done it and how to really make change in the communities.
The city has done a lot for us to help us be down at Trollskogen Park. The Grays allow us to be on the bird trail every week, and we've just had so much support and have heard so many good things about the things that we're doing here, and it's just really nice to feel appreciated and to feel supported from the community.
It's an active model that always is shifting depending on the students you have and what their interests are and how they see themselves being successful in life.
I think when we talked through plans this summer, a lot of us would have said and wanted the same things. And a lot of the kids would have said and wanted the same things. And now that we've been through it and we've done some new things that we had to think outside of the box, the flexible learning day or the soft landing, soft exit, or the flex course idea in the high school where maybe I'm not always meeting at a set time. Boy, we found out there are things we don't want to lose. And the kids don't want to lose them and the community doesn't want to lose them. So with every bad thing comes blessings too. And I think that's one thing that COVID forced us to do is kind of re-examine the way we're doing things. And there's probably better ways to do some of that. And we don't want to lose some of those pieces that we found.
I use that number 20 because I've been teaching for 20 years. And I use that for me and also for others to know that I'm not a brand new teacher, but this is what I'm brand new to. Teaching outdoors, taking what I know, prior knowledge, and then helping the kids dig in to their prior knowledge. And I really have to say, how do I turn back now? You know, I think about myself as an educator, as a mom, as a wife. I go home and tell my family about the activities that we're doing. So I'm learning just with them and taking risks. So it's been worth everything.
I think starting with the students was a key point, but then we asked the parents too, what do you like? We meet with them every month and we say, based on your feedback, here's the prototype we're developing for next fall. Are we on the right track? What do you think? And when parents all get in the same room, one parent may love it and one parent may not, but they hear each other. And so they're listening to one another too and thinking, well, I didn't realize that Wednesdays actually worked really well for your family because of that. And another parent says, I didn't realize Wednesdays didn't work well virtually for you because of another reason. And they start to hear each other and then they look for solutions. And so that's been really fun for us, not to necessarily have all the answers, but to work with our families on coming up with good solutions as we move forward.
All right. I am Luke Challen. Can you hear me? So I'm going to do my best. We have a group of us here, just so you know, if like I look this way and it's like, who's he talking to? I'm actually talking to you on a gigantic TV screen, but our camera's in the middle of the table. So I'm going to do my best to make sure I keep staring at the camera. And the kids I have with me, some of them whom you will have noticed from that video, I'll let you guys introduce yourselves actually as we go around. And I know our video was a little bit long, so I won't take too much time. I will tell you, ours is going to be more conversational based. For those of you that know me, that won't be a shock because I didn't make a huge presentation or ask them to. But one thing I was going to touch on quick that we're excited to kick off this year that our Student Centered Network team has had a little bit of input in is our profile of the learner work, which you saw in the previous video. We have the same type of deal, but it's outside of how are my grades. It's how am I as a person and where do we want to be before we graduate? So that's another thing that's just an example through community and student involvement we've developed, and we're excited to try it this year. That's all the time I'm going to take because I think we're here for the reason to put the voices on the kids, and I have 4 kids here with me who have worked feverishly, might be a tad bit nervous, worked to put together some of their experiences with student-centered pieces that we've worked for here. So who's going first?
I'm going first.
Hattie's going first, so I'll let her take it away.
All right. Yeah, hopefully. I'm Hattie Sanis, and I'm a senior at Spring Grove. and I'm going to talk about many things. I'm going to start talking about our student-centered network, which I guess I talked about in the video. It's a group where we get to give input on various things, from our education to, like, we even talked about the seats that we sit in during class. Through the student-centered network, we have done a lot of things. One thing that we did last year was, which we gave a presentation on trauma-sensitive school model, which creates a sense of belonging through all by building a sense of empathy throughout the building. We had really strived for that for a while, and we were really lucky to be able to do that. And then off of that, we have created advisory times this year from 2:55 to 3:16, which is the end of our school day. And on Mondays and Thursdays during this time, we focus on mental health through various activities. A couple weeks ago, we did one where we asked students questions and had them partner up, and then they were able to talk through those together. Another thing we've been able to create are college and career days once a month, and which helps students prepare for their futures and make that stuff not so scary, and it won't just kind of jump at them their senior year.
And then melded, Hattie, from the idea of our virtual day last year. You want to talk a little bit about how that worked out? The students were kind of on one side, the parents were kind of on the other side. So we went through the process of finding a common ground of what that looks like. I guess.
Last year because of COVID, we decided to have Wednesdays online, and those days we just would log into class for usually short periods of time. And then we were able to work on our homework kind of self-paced and catch up. And like Mr. Challen said, that's where the college readiness days came from, because we still wanted an opportunity to have a day to ourselves where we're able to build and grow. And then another thing that I have been able to do, not through the student-centered network, but with our superintendent, Mrs. Oudstoon, is participate in an equity building team with other people in our county. In that, we strive to find ways to create a more equitable community for all, to ensure that everybody feels safe and secure. And that has just been something that has always been really important to me, and I know so many other students, and to have the opportunity to do that is so awesome. And now I'll pass it on to Ava.
Okay, hi, I'm Ava. I'm also a senior. So over the past 4 years, one of our main focuses in this group has been to individualize our learning and school experience in order to better prepare students for college, like Hattie had just touched on. When COVID hit, it sped up this process. So in order to social distance, we incorporated staggered start and end times, as well as flex courses and the opportunity of off-campus lunch and learning for juniors and seniors. With the success of the new ways of learning last year, we decided to keep as well as add on to those ideas. With flex courses, we offer students to take classes with teachers in our school outside of the traditional classroom setting, as well as students can take classes on an online program called Edgenuity, which Jada will touch on in just a second. Open campus gives juniors and seniors the opportunity to leave the building to eat lunch, as well as to come to school late and leave school early. This year, we have worked alongside Mabel Canton School District to offer work-based learning experiences for juniors and seniors because of students' desire to broaden their learning experience and better prepare themselves for their futures. The younger classmen have also been given the opportunity to individualize and take ownership of their learning with something called the Project-Based Learning Wednesdays. So at the beginning of the school year, 8th grade students were able to choose a topic they found interesting to search up on to create a project on with no limitations. So some of the students chose to do research on topics such as cancer, a basketball player, pollution, the Badlands, and more. So students chose to present their information in many different ways. Some created websites, some used slideshows, created posters, and then they also could use Google Earth to explain the area that they had done research on. This project helped create a spark in many of the students' learning and helped quieter students find their voices because they actually enjoyed what they were learning about and they got to choose. It was their choice, not the teachers. So another main focus of this group has been to modernize our school. So we've reached grants that have been put toward our workspaces as well as our cafeteria. For a few years, we've been working towards receiving a grant to renovate our science lab, which we now received, but sadly for Hattie and I, will not get to use this because renovations don't start until this summer. I think that's all I have to say. Jada, you can go.
All right, I'm Jaya. I'm in 7th grade, and I'll be talking about some of the opportunities we've gotten this year. The first one is other students and I got the opportunity to interview candidates for a new social studies teacher. There was a student interview where each candidate taught a lesson. We got to ask questions, and then there was a separate teacher interview. Miss Rainey stuck out to us, and we thought she would be a great social studies teacher. So Miss Rainey is our new social studies teacher, and we're now taking classes from her. Another opportunity that we got is to take online courses for math. My dad is the mathematics teacher, and I love math. We got the opportunity to take online courses that weren't offered by the school. It customized our learning experiences a lot. We got the online math course that I'm doing right now is called Edgenuity. And you can watch videos and practice, and it can show you what you've learned and what you could also improve on. The last opportunity that I'll talk about is the farm. So 7th grade is partnering with the Nettle Valley Farm, where we go to the farm once a week, and it combines our English and science into one big project about our farm. And that's all. So Dane.
Okay, I'm Dane, and I'm a junior at Spring Grove. And this year we brought in a new plan. It's called the 2030 Task Force. And it's basically just like bringing all of our students and community together with like a center or building to like improve our small town, I guess. For the task force, we're trying to locate it next to our school so it'd be easier for our students to get to. And also we're trying to incorporate features for all ages, like elders, people like the arts, the area for concerts, just really anything. And we're just trying to put it all into one place. And then the 2030 task force is trying to include students' opinions and how they value the whole project. The 2030 task force helped me think about multiple perspectives instead of just myself. And it helped me like thought about people that like the arts, outdoorsy people, the elders, and to help me choose activities not only for myself, but also for everyone in the community.
Awesome. So that's just a little bit about things we've experienced and what we do. You know, hopefully we've given the idea that we do try to listen to our kids and give them a voice. You know, frequently in education we say we're all in this together. Then I think it's our task to work through it together, solve it together, and be partners in it. So that's Spring Grove.
All right. And I am going to introduce Northwest Passage High School. First, we will be watching their video, and then they will be sharing.
Expeditionary learning at Northwest Passage for sure is about providing opportunities for students to get outside of the school, outside of the classroom, to take their learning to new levels by experiencing relevant learning in unique ways that for a lot of our students they maybe wouldn't ever have a chance to do.
First hearing about a Chicago expedition, I was like, what? You know, I've never seen a school that would go to Chicago. But not only that, but to China that same year. So that definitely got me here.
Hands-on learning of it all is just kind of like my style of learning. Like I went on the Guatemala trip to San Luis Solomon, and it was just eye-opening to be able to see all that and to be immersed in it.
Chicago to Utah and the Canyonlands, to the Boundary Waters, to Duluth, to Washington, D.C., all of these things that I actually have done within my 4-year career here really did amaze me when I did start doing this.
It was a lot of my personal interests, and I mean there's a lot of trips that are hiking and camping, and biking, and those aren't really my sort of thing. So a lot of the more urban expeditions are where my interest was, because I like big cities, and I think as a country there's a lot of like really rich history.
Expeditions are the sort of the end of our whole process of education here. Everything we do is experiential based and project-based learning. It's a further extension of project-based learning. We do a lot of field studies, so on any given day, a quarter to a third of the students are out of the building doing field research, doing field studies.
Learning isn't confined to four walls. We're able to go out and learn from community members, learn from the environment, speak to experts and to people who experience the things we're learning about every day.
Once we put together a calendar of those trips, then we kind of figure out, do we have enough wilderness trips? Do we need more city trips? Do we have enough entry-level trips, or should we, and then it's a little bit of a balancing act with the budget and that kind of thing.
When we build the budget for the following year, we allocate a certain amount of our budget for expeditions. They could do the work, they do the pre-work before a trip, they go on the expedition, they participate in all the stuff that goes along with that. They do the post-work and they could earn credit for that and not have to worry about doing a lot of fundraising or the hardship on families on paying for that. And it opened it up across the board for students.
And soak in these moments while you can, because they're going to help you throughout the rest of your life and time here in high school.
Having those kind of opportunities where we say, yeah, we can learn about it in a book or we can watch a video, but how much better is it to experience it and have that connection to what you're talking about.
All right. And now if Jeff would like to lead your team to share a little bit more about your school.
Sorry. Hi, actually, it's Brandy Greer. I am a staff at Northwest Passage High School. I've been there, this is my 20th year. And I am with two students. We are currently on expedition to about 2.5 hours from our school. Right now, we are on the first or in the middle of the second day of an experience week here this fall. So we are an expedition of 19 kids, and there's another expedition of 10 kids that are currently all out this week. And the rest of our school, the kids who are behind, they are in structured 1 week experiences with different teachers and advisors where they're also getting out in the community. So there are kids who are out this week doing service the whole week, kids who are out exploring sculpture in our community, a variety of different things. I'm going to introduce you to our two students who are here with me. They are both ambassadors. And they happen to be in the Headwaters program. I'm part of the Headwaters program at Northwest Passage High School. So we'll talk more about project-based learning. Nolan will talk about that. But Headwaters, it's a cohort for our new students coming to our high school so that they can learn the foundations of project-based learning because it's at the core of our curriculum. So learning that structure, how to take healthy risks in their learning and explore. Nolan will talk a little bit more about that. And then I also have Juliana. So I'm going to let Juliana speak a little bit more here.
Hi, I'm Juliana. I'm in 9th grade. When I heard about this school, I was like, the expeditions really hit me. I was like, I cannot sit in a chair and read a book. I need to go out and get those real life experiences. So like being here, being on expedition right now, we have, so far we've done like high rope climbing and rock wall climbing, which like if you think of it, if you really wanted to go make that your career, it's a real life experience that you can do while learning about it, because they give background about it while we are experiencing it.
And risk, I
Yes.
talked a little bit about risk. So the beginning of the school year with our Headwaters cohort, we're focusing on community. So building our community of around 30 students. And also learning how to take healthy risks.
Yeah.
So we're at this expedition doing both of those things. So pushing ourselves outside our comfort zones into our challenge zones individually and as our small community. And that's going to be part of what we are reflecting on a lot as we go forward with our project-based learning. It's also a kickoff for what we'll be doing in the next few weeks in the sciences.
We have also went to a nature center. We went to Elm Creek to learn about buckthorn and how to do the removal of it. We did that. That was one of our, not really expedition, but one of our experience learning hands-on. We also, just for a little bit during one of our days, we went to a local nature center and we like kind of explored. We walked around. We got to just like go see nature, walk in nature, kind of like hiking.
So there's some spontaneous experiences, but also these structured experiences. So Juliana's example of the buckthorn, we were working with a naturalist to learn how to identify. And then we were doing service learning where we were removing it, but that identification and learning around that. And we do monthly service learning in a variety of different places around. So our expeditionary learning are based on our experiences. It's not just these bigger expeditions, it's also happening on a daily basis.
Yeah, like coming up, I think it's either next week or not next week, either next month or in December, we're going to Feed My Starving Children to go do more environmental learning. We're gonna go pack the food for people that are in need of food and need of these things because they don't have the resources for it. So we're going to go help. And like at Feed My Starving Children, if you've done it before, they make like little games out of it, like who can box the most. Like we're gonna go have fun with it, but we're also learning like what area we're doing, what area the food is going to, why we're doing it, and kind of like what we will get out of it. And what we get out of it is feeling good that we were able to help someone else.
Nolan, why don't you talk a little bit about advisory and community?
Hi, yeah, I'll talk a little bit about advisory and community. In our every day at school, something that's always great is that we have our advisory, which is kind of like our classroom. But our biggest thing is it's community and it's people we're with for our whole school year. And the biggest thing about our community is we want to gain trust. We want to gain bonds. And something that we've been doing a lot recently with our advisory is troubleshooting. That's one of our biggest things, and learning how when things don't go always like the way we want it to, a way to get past it and work at it. But kind of like the expedition we're on right now, a lot of the activities we've also done have done a lot of teamwork and learning how to get along with people. And like every second thing, even though if you're going like doing a rough activity that's getting you stressed, to still keep a calm head and learning how to encourage each other through these things. So
what I'll add to that is we've kind of, it's hard for us to define advisory at Northwest Passage High School because it is a physical space you are in. It is a group of people, and it's also a philosophy. As Nolan said, they are with me and their other advisor this whole year, and then they will leave Headwaters program. For the remainder of our students who are in the rest of the school, they may have their advisor for 10th, 11th, and 12th grade and be with that whole group, that whole cohort of people that are multi-age and multi-level. So, really learning how to work as a community and through things is a big part of who we are as well. And it becomes really important when we are challenging ourselves with our project-based learning. So this real-world project-based learning is student-centered, and it can be inquiry-driven. It can be real-world problems, but we always have a guiding question that we don't start with, we get to. So there's a structure to our projects. They're about 6 to 7 weeks, and students work 3 hours a day on this multi-subject project with weekly presentation of their ideas to a small group of students with a staff where they are given feedback as well. And so advisory or expeditions and the bonds and connections we make there in our experiences really help relate to what we're also doing in the advisory with the risk taking, because presenting your thoughts and ideas to others involves a lot of risk, and also learning how to give that kind of feedback.
Yep. Yeah, I think we have something to add on that, if
Go
that's
ahead.
okay. Do you want to go first?
Sure. So far with project-based learning, we've done About Me project. That one was more based on like English. And we had, I think it was like every 2 weeks, we did like a project tuning. So we would bring all of our ideas and what we have so far, and everyone would give us positive feedback on what they think about it and like what we could add, what maybe we could work on with it, what we could do better with. And so far we've done that. Now we're doing one with math, with figuring out like a dream space, basically.
The graph.
Yeah.
Did you have something?
Yes. So something, we go through a cycle for our project-based learning and for every project. So for our like first week, we start with brainstorming, which is where you're just finding like doing different ideas, and thinking, okay, well, like if it was about math, what can I work with what I've already learned? How can I put this into a project? Can I make this into like a graph? And just coming up with different ideas, like maybe I could like, I don't know, draw like an actual like scale drawing, or maybe like a model. And so the first week we really come up with brainstorming ideas. A lot of times we'll ask our peers and like other fellow classmates of ideas, or just like, hey, like, do you have anything you think I should add on this? And then, but for the next couple of weeks to get to our end like project, like our finished project, we go through different tunings where we have our first tuning of ideas, and then we have our tunings are like the most important part, and in our research, and different like prototypes we work on. So like just working on prototypes, getting those drafts done, and getting feedback almost like every 2 weeks, like Juliana said. So yeah.
I know we have to wrap up here, so we could do that here, because I know if there's questions in the breakout rooms.
Thank you very much. And I believe, Tim, would you like to explain how to get into the breakout rooms?
Yeah. So a few things. One, thanks for sharing, everybody. I think the best part is now the MLCN is really hoping to facilitate connections between schools. And so many of you got a chance to share. And so if everybody goes to their own school, then you'll be talking with yourselves. So I would encourage, especially some of the adults, to make sure that there's a main contact that goes to your own school's breakout room. But then I would encourage people to go and learn about another program. So the way to do that, depending on how recently you've updated your Zoom, you can just go right now, if you know where you want to head, and click on breakout rooms and just jump right to that. If that option doesn't show, then you can just throw in the chat and I will assign you. It just kind of depends on what platform you're on or the last time you updated your Zoom rooms. But if you find breakout rooms near the bottom of your Zoom screen and select the one you want. If it doesn't work, you could just start shouting at me, or the chat is slightly easier, but.
Another room or something?
Or you could just go over there.
Okay.
How do I join? Is it on my
Real
Gmail?
quick, two of my ladies who were
Yeah, you have to.
they're gonna join the meeting quick so we can separate.
Perfect. Yep. All right, I will start throwing. So those of you still waiting, either in the chat or just you can tell me what room you'd love to go. Either is by the school, Level Up Academy, Spring Grove, or Northwest Passage.
Keep it full screen.
So about 10 minutes here.
All
Okay,
right.
perfect.
Anyone on the call have a question for Spring Grove students?
I do. It might be a question that's not, is it okay if it's not necessarily related to the?
Yeah, that's okay.
Come back to me. I want to make sure I word this correctly.
All right.
I have a question, but I'm not positive you guys can answer. But I get the student outreach piece and meeting with some of your teachers and the school leaders. They mentioned parent community a lot. Were you guys, was that all together? Was that parent outreach separate? How did they invite parents?
So pretty much we like have a bunch of surveys through Google Forms and stuff that they send out. And that was like the initial, like, what did parents like from this year? What did parents not like? And then off of that, I think they did a meeting, like a whole Google, it was all virtual, obviously, but a bunch of parents, they sent out a link and as many parents they wanted could join. And then we'd have like, I think Mr. Challen, our principal was there, Ms. Zootstoon,
Mrs. Meinertz.
Miss Meinertz, yep. And then some, I think students could have joined too if they wanted to, just pretty much to like say what their views were, because we definitely have our voice as students, but I think parents and students probably have a little bit of different views.
Like establishing that voice throughout the entire community, because it's good to have like establishing like a grapevine of like everybody can talk to each other.
Yep, for sure.
Were there places where the student voice and the parent voice came in conflict?
Yeah, that was with the Wednesdays. Where we had last year, we had them all virtual. Students loved it. Like I personally loved it so much. I used it as like a catch-up day. If I was all caught up, I would use it just like as a relaxation day. But I think there's a lot of conflict, especially with like elementary students, just because like childcare and stuff, which like I 100% understand. But now we have our college readiness day, which like we have one just tomorrow, and seniors, I think, are just able to use it for like college applications.
Because deadline for most is, well, if you want early application,
Yeah.
November 1st.
Yeah.
Also, I think last year too, with like COVID, obviously mental health was a super big, like, we had a huge emphasis on that. I would say we we had like surveys and stuff for students to fill out, like if they need someone to talk to. I feel like as a student, I feel that I have like teachers and stuff that
I
I'm
feel like,
comfortable to talk
yeah,
to.
like safe in the school, which is
Mhm.
so important.
And I think that Wednesdays for a lot of students was like what they needed. At least for me, like it was a day where if I was super stressed with a bunch of homework, like I could spend my whole day, with homework. Otherwise, like go out and, like spend time with friends and like have study groups with your friends. It wasn't so like structured all the time. And I think for us, that was a huge change because we were trying to go towards that. And then it was like, oh, boom, we got to do it.
Yeah.
And it was, I think most students really like loved it. And I think a lot of our learning actually like, I don't know, we enjoyed learning more, at least I did.
And with that, even I know some teacher voices interfered with that, even because like we have advanced placement courses at our school.
Sure.
It's really hard to have that one day off.
Yeah.
When you're trying to like cram information into 1 week already.
Yeah.
It sounds like you you have the opportunity to hear different perspectives at Spring Grove. You hear from different age groups and different, needs that people have. And it sounds like you as students are getting opportunities to really know what that feels like, to not just think about yourself. So that's very cool. I'm going to let Danica ask her question if she's ready, and I have one too, but.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. I was trying to figure out how to articulate it, and I'm not sure if I got it yet, but here's to nothing. So I'm curious about have y'all gone through Spring Grove, matriculated through the entire time, like from kindergarten?
Yep.
Both of you? Okay. So then I will shift my question. My question would be, tell me how your relationship with your learning and what you want to learn and what you've come to learn. So let me think. So your relationship with understanding the importance of individualized learning.
I think that definitely, like when we were younger, I would say our school was pretty like old school. We kind of just were like, okay, you have, and we're going to discuss, and then you're going to, go do your homework. And then in like, I would say probably our middle ages, so like 4th, 5th, and 6th grade was kind of when it started to become like something that it was like, okay, we need to realize how this can be individualized and how students kind of can like make their own choices. And like, and I guess too, I've always felt as if teachers understand, like, say you don't get an assignment done. Like, if you're a good student, the teacher is going to be like, okay, like what happened? Like, we can understand that sometimes people have a rough week or a rough, like year, I guess even, and they're super understanding with that. And like, okay, you can have this at your own self-paced. In 7th grade, we used a system called Alex for math, which is completely self-paced. We had a student in our class who was doing
10th grade
math and 8th grade, I think.
And now she's doing like college courses.
Yeah. So it's just been super, like, was awesome to see the change from like a super like old school, we do this, we read the textbook, to like, okay, now you can have an individualized learning with those courses. And also I think with COVID, obviously it probably happened a little fast, but I think that has been really awesome, especially for our younger classmen now, like getting to do all the outside experiments. Like they're excited to come to school.
Yeah.
Like school's like a place that like they get to see their friends, they have so much fun outside. Like it's not a place like, oh, school. It's like, especially for the little kids, I think that's super important.
Yeah. And especially because it's like K through 12, we've been here since kindergarten. We've got to like see like basically what Ava was saying, we've grown with our school. We've got to like see this like form of education change. And because it's K through 12, the like 2nd grade teacher I had can go talk to my like current teachers when I'm a senior and be like, oh, like she still likes learning this way. Like I think I've always liked hands-on learning, and the teachers are able to connect through that. That form of communication is so important. And like I know like for a fact that our teachers do talk like that of like, oh, this kid like has a like struggles in this realm of learning. How can we help them like grow throughout their K through 12? And I can't like think of anything more important than that in learning.
And our teachers want us to strive, which I
Yeah.
think most teachers do. So that's really important too, because like we know that like, say I could go talk to an elementary teacher and be like, hey, I'm struggling with this. And they'd be like, oh, okay, like, how can we fix it? And like our principal, like he is so like, if you tell me you have a problem, it's like right away. It's like, okay, we need to fix this. Like the workspace learning, like I talked about, we have 2 students in our class who go to a nearby town and they work in a dental office with like just job shadowing there. And they asked for that and they got it. Like they're just very, you know, like, okay, how can we help your learning? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like knowing that we can go to these adults and be like, hey, like here's something that I think would help benefit my learning. And then we receive that and we see that being enacted. Like we feel that our voices are like really matter.
So you are very fortunate to be in a community that is that small, and they know each other, and you've had that experience K-12, which is really cool. I have a couple of questions, but I think I'll pick one. We are building a network across Minnesota, along with partner organizations and other educators, and we really do wonder about the need for a network for students, because there's quite a few active things going on for students to share their voice. And it sounds like you have kind of an internal network called the Student Center Network, right? Is that what it's called? Where you're allowed to have space for your voice. Do you guys ever think of how that might look outside of Spring Grove? Like, have you explored that, or even thought about like what a network beyond Spring Grove would look like, or what your needs might be?
Yeah, well, I know we've talked about it, even connecting like at the end of last year. So we'd probably start working at some point this year. We talked about connecting with not only other students from other schools, but other like community members and other just like other adults from other communities, so that we can connect that way, because bringing like our model of like connecting to other schools would be like awesome. Because like when I know when I tell like my friends who go to other schools, because we're just surrounded by more small towns, they always think the model we have is really cool.
So are you saying that you would feel a need to share because other kids around the state should?
Yeah, I would say for sure. Like it honestly, like I feel so involved in everything, like community and like school, because of this. Like, and I guess I've been in it when this network first started. It was just for students, and it was like people chosen from, I think it was sophomore and seniors. So I've been in it since, no, freshman. So I've been in it for the longest. And I guess we got to visit like Farmington. This was all before COVID hit. And then like what's it called? The musical arts.
I think you went to the High School of Recording Arts.
Thank you.
That's what I know.
And I like that we got to talk to other students and see how they learned and what they loved about their school. And I think that really helped, because we got to go on those. It wasn't just teachers being like, oh, that's really cool. Like they did that. It was like, we got to communicate with other students and decide like, okay, we need to, like somehow have this in our day, or like get the students involved in this way. And I think that was really important, because it was our voices and their voices coming together, not teachers and teachers.
Yeah.
And then we got to tell our student, our staff what we wanted.
And I think our school has grown enough to the point where maybe we don't because like COVID and stuff, like maybe we don't need people coming and visiting, but I think it would be important to share this with other schools, because now we can do what like Farmington and like the Recording Arts School did for us.
Like that's where we got the idea of flex courses, was from Farmington, and like how you can come late one day or you can leave early one day because you have that flex course.
Nice.
Which gives a lot of flexibility.
Well, thanks for your energy. Thanks for sharing today and your time.
Thank you for your questions.
Yeah.
Rock stars, because
I was telling them that, like, we went through that presentation and both of them said to me, we're going there so we can go on those trips.
I had a follow-up question. One thing I wanted to know, you had mentioned folks after graduation. Do people when a couple of years after they leave, who have gone through matriculated through Spring Grove, how would they describe their preparation or their experience once they leave the school in terms of how they've been able to experience a different learning environment? College can be very different. Actually, I graduated with an individualized degree. So I love learner-centered education, the model. So I'm curious if you've had any experience, if anyone who's a part of Spring Grove has had an experience of how kids do after high school.
So I would say that like even a few years ago, like it was like they went to college and like, what the heck? Like, this is so weird. Like, I don't know what I'm doing because we're in the tiniest school. We have like 23 kids. It's probably the average in each class. So people would get to school. Like my sister's a few years older than me and she was like, what the heck? Like, this is weird because they weren't really prepared for it. But then I feel in the last 4 years, even I guess when we got the student center network and students' voices were heard more, I think that like last year students, like they got to college and they're like, oh, like I know this flexibility. Like I know that in this flexible course, like I don't have a teacher telling me what I need to do when I need to do it. And they know like I have to get my work done because nobody else is like, I'm relying on me. They're like not going to be telling me what to do all the time. So I would say that that has definitely made a big difference, was like the flexible courses and stuff. So I would say we'll be pretty prepared, hopefully.
Yeah, but even with like the education aspect of it, I think we've always been good at like that, because I know like my dad went to Spring Grove and he decided to send me to Spring Grove. So it's like, it's always like people like the way we educate kids because like there's people who grew up here sending their kids here again.
We just have a very good relationship with students and teachers. And I would say that our learning environment is awesome because most people come to Spring Grove and then come to Spring Grove for school, then they leave for college and they come back and they like create their family here, or like, their family grows up here. And I think that's really awesome that it's like, such a good community.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank
Any
you.
more questions? Yep. You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
It was a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
That was.
All right, so very quickly, everyone, we're going to have you share in the chat something from your learner notes, a little bit of inspiration, something you're going to put to action, an emotional response you had, an idea, an action step. Just share something with us so we get to hear a little bit about what you're thinking right now.
And while you're doing that, should I plug the next 2 slides here?
That'd be fine, yes.
Okay. So we just want to thank you guys all so much for being here today. It's so inspiring to hear these stories and the personalization behind what's happening at our schools. Just a reminder that Minnesota Learner Center Network sponsored this get together today. And we're a network of educators throughout the state of Minnesota that are doing these type of learner centered practices, or it's people that want to learn from examples like you and schools like yours that are trying to become more learner centered. So if you would like to join us Thursday, December 9th at 4 o'clock, we're going to have virtual and in-person options for you to join a happy hour connection and meet some of the members of Minnesota Learner Center Network. And then the next slide, we'll have a way that you can join the network if you're interested. And then we also really want your feedback on how this session went. It's always, doing something virtually is not, is always a little bit of a struggle, but I felt like I really got to connect with the school. So I really appreciate that. So I don't know if we have a link that's going in the chat for that feedback form. I know you guys are getting the slides, but I don't know if Tim has that. And then also, we encourage you to just join the network. There's all sorts of opportunities that we'll be posting and a newsletter that goes out monthly, and opportunities to connect with others in the network. And your level of how you engage with the network is 100% up to you and where you're at any given moment. So thank you. Should we get a little bit into the chat here?
Yeah, we are wrapping up just a few minutes early so that you actually do have time to fill out that feedback form. So we would really appreciate that, because we are trying to decide how we do our virtual school visits, and your feedback would be very helpful. Even if you are a participant or a host school, either one would be really helpful. And then you can read the chat while we're doing that. So we'll leave this open for you for a few minutes. We just thank you so much, host schools and students, for sharing, and really fun to see you all on the call. And I just hope you have a great November, and we'll see you in December.